Right now, everything around you, your phone, your car, your hospital, your military, depends on a chip made in one tiny corner of the world. Not America, not China, not Europe. One island the size of Maryland controls over 90% of the world's most advanced chip production. That island is Taiwan, and the company that makes those chips is called TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. TSMC is the single most important company most people have never heard of. Without TSMC, Apple cannot make iPhones, Nvidia cannot make AI chips, and the US military cannot build advanced weapons. The entire global economy runs through one factory complex on a politically contested island, and that island sits 90 miles from China, which claims it as its own territory. To understand why this matters so much, you need to understand what a chip actually is. A semiconductor chip is a tiny piece of silicon with billions of microscopic switches etched onto its surface. Each switch is called a transistor, and it can be on or off, representing a 1 or a 0. Combine billions of these switches, and you can process information, run software, power artificial intelligence. Modern chips contain up to 100 billion transistors on a piece of silicon the size of your thumbnail. The most advanced chips today have transistors just 2 nanometers wide. That is about the width of 10 atoms placed side by side. No other company on Earth can manufacture chips at this level of precision at scale. Only TSMC and Samsung can get close, and TSMC is still significantly ahead. But how did one small island end up controlling the most critical technology on Earth? The story starts in 1987 with one man and one radical idea. A Taiwanese engineer named Morris Chang had spent decades working in the American semiconductor industry. He noticed something that nobody else had fully acted on. Chip companies were spending enormous resources designing chips and building the factories to make them. Morris Chang's idea was simple. What if a company only made chips and let everyone else design them? This model, called a foundry model, had never been done at scale before. It meant that small startups with no factories could now design world-class chips and have TSMC build them. This single business model quietly enabled the entire modern tech industry. Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Qualcomm, they are all chip designers with no factories of their own. They are called fabless companies, short for fabricationless. All of them send their designs to TSMC, and TSMC manufactures them. TSMC now handles over 50% of all semiconductor production globally and over 90% of the most advanced nodes. The machines that make these chips are called EUV lithography machines. They use extreme ultraviolet light to etch circuit patterns onto silicon at atomic scale. These machines cost $150 million each. They are made by only one company in the entire world, ASML, based in the Netherlands. So the most critical machine in the world for making chips is made by one Dutch company and installed in one Taiwanese company. This concentration of power in the supply chain is unlike anything else in modern industry. Now here is where the story becomes genuinely frightening. Taiwan sits 90 miles from mainland China. China considers Taiwan part of its territory and has never renounced the use of military force to reunify it. If China took control of Taiwan and its chip factories, it would instantly control the global technology supply chain. Every iPhone, every data center, every advanced military system depends on chips that only Taiwan can make. This is why analysts call Taiwan the most geopolitically important piece of land on Earth right now. Some strategists call it the Silicon Shield, the idea that Taiwan's chip dominance is its greatest protection. The logic is simple. Any country that destroys Taiwan destroys the chip supply they also need. But this logic is fragile, and the rest of the world knows it. The United States has been trying to reduce its dependence on Taiwan chips for years. In 2022, the US passed the CHIPS Act, providing $52 billion to build domestic semiconductor factories. TSMC itself was paid to build chip factories in Arizona. But building advanced chip factories takes years, and the results are not guaranteed to match Taiwan's quality. Making a chip factory is not like building a regular factory. The clean rooms inside chip factories are 1,000 times cleaner than a hospital operating room. A single dust particle can ruin an entire chip and destroy thousands of dollars of product. Taiwan has spent 30 years perfecting this process, and that knowledge cannot simply be copied overnight. China has been trying to build its own advanced chip industry for decades and is still years behind. The US has actively blocked China from acquiring advanced chip-making equipment, including ASML machines. Without access to those machines, China cannot manufacture the most advanced chips. This chip technology gap has become one of the biggest geopolitical battlegrounds of the 21st century. In 2020, the entire world got a preview of what chip shortages feel like. COVID disrupted chip supply chains and caused a global shortage that lasted nearly 2 years. Car manufacturers had to shut down production lines because they could not get enough chips for their vehicles. The average new car today contains over 1,000 semiconductors. A shortage of chips costing just a few dollars each caused billions in losses across the global auto industry. That was a preview of what a real Taiwan crisis would look like, multiplied by 100. If Taiwan's chip production stopped tomorrow, within months global smartphone production would halt. Data centers powering the internet would run out of replacement chips within a year. AI development would essentially stop. Advanced military systems across the Western world would have no path to replacement components. This is why every major government on Earth is now scrambling to build their own chip industry. The European Union launched its own Chips Act, targeting 20% of global production by 2030. Japan rebuilt its domestic chip industry with government support after decades of decline. India announced plans to become a major chip producer within the next decade. But building what TSMC has taken decades to perfect is not something that happens in a few years. The world spent 50 years becoming dependent on one place for the most critical technology in history. Unwinding that dependency will take decades more, if it can be done at all. The tiny chip in your phone right now is the most politically charged object on the planet. And right now, the entire world is racing to figure out what happens if it can no longer rely on that tiny island to make it. The object that runs our world is smaller than your fingernail, and it comes from one place.